Hey everybody, Dan Cavallari, slow guy on the fast ride, and as you can see, I have a lot of black bags behind me, and that's on purpose. So about a year ago, I would say a year and a half ago, right before COVID hit, I was fortunate enough to test Orucase's B2 travel case. Now back then, the airlines were still charging a lot of money to ship your bike back and forth. Recently, those prices have gone away, and now they're just treated as oversized baggage, unless you get under the oversized baggage sizing and weight, which the B2 allows you to do. Now, before that, you had to kind of fake it and say, oh no, this isn't a bike. So we've got this crazy little badge here that says therapy equipment. Because for whatever reason, they wouldn't charge for a big bag if it was therapy equipment, but if it was a bike, you got popped a bike fee. Not the case anymore on most major airlines. However, if your bike is too heavy or over the dimensions, you will get popped an oversized baggage fee. So I had tested the original B2 back then. I liked it, had some nitpicks, which I'll cover in just a moment. But then I got the new one, the new B2, the updated B2 over here, and I just got back from a trip to Maine with this bag. And so we're gonna do a little comparison here. We're gonna talk about the old one and talk about what changed with the new one, and then we're gonna take my bike out of the bag and see if any damage happened. That's the big decider for any bike bag, right? To see if it protects your bike. Now this one gets crammed up into a very small space, which means there's less margin for error here. Orucase addresses that with some pretty clever design. So let's dive in. First of all, let's take a look at the old case and see what that's all about, and then compare it to the new case and see what's new. All right, so I'm here with the old version of the Orucase B2. This is the previous version that I had tested for Velo News magazine, I want to say about a year and a half, 2 years ago. The size is the same, the dimensions are largely the same, but you can see on the bottom here, they have swivel wheels, 4 swivel wheels, 2 on each side. And these can lock into place, so you can lock it into place so it doesn't wander all over the place. And then also the bottom does not have the runners, which you'll see on the newer version. So when I tested this case, that was my biggest complaint, was that these 4 swivel wheels made it really hard to pull this behind me without the bag wandering all over the place. The other thing that happened with the older one was that if I was walking over uneven pavement, the bottom of the bag would actually scrape on the pavement and cause the bag to shimmy all over the place. Those were my big complaints about this version of the bag. The rest of the bag is largely the same to the new version. So let's hop over to the new version and see what that looks like, what the updates look like. Here we have the updated version of the Orucase B2. You can see I just got back from a trip, haven't even opened this, haven't checked on the bike yet. So we're gonna do that in just a moment, but some of the updates. So on this one, the wheels are different. They're bigger and they don't swivel. There's also no front wheels. So this looks a lot more like a traditional piece of luggage that you would wheel along on 2 wheels, which actually works out a lot better. The case is a lot more stable when you're walking with it behind you. It doesn't wander like the old case did. This is a very, very, very important upgrade that I very much like. The other thing on this one, I'm over here now. On the bottom, you'll see it has these solid runners. This helps prevent the sagging issue that I had with the old case, where you would get hung up on the pavement or something like that if the ground was uneven. This, I never had any of those issues, but also you're not trying to pull this on 4 wheels anymore. You're pulling it on 2 wheels, which means the front end of the case gets pulled up off the ground anyway. So the clearance issue isn't really an issue. But this also does make it easier to pull it upstairs or things like that. So overall, good upgrade. Harder than the other one, so there's more structure to the bottom. Does make the case, I think, slightly heavier, but for the most part, I'm very happy that this bottom is more solid, more structured. The wheels are larger. This is much easier to carry behind you. I did have some problem with because this is a fairly tall bag and you are trying to cram a lot of things in there, keeping the dimensions narrow to get in underneath all of the dimensional restrictions that you have on airlines. The bag does tend to wobble this way if you hit some bumps, but I didn't have nearly as many issues with that as I did with the old bag. So this is a far more stable bag overall. I like it. The one thing I didn't understand Now, if you can see over here, there's a handle down here. It's a nice rugged handle. I don't know what to do with it. It doesn't seem like the right hand position for pulling behind me, and I didn't find any other situations where this was really necessary. It's nice to have options, but I don't know that that one was necessary. I ended up pulling by this one instead. This was the far more stable hand position for pulling it through the airport, on the train, all the places I went with this. Okay, let's open this bad boy up and see how the bike handled the trip. Now, I should mention, on this trip, I took this trip to Maine to see my brother, and I brought my bike thinking, oh, I will enjoy the fall in Maine, enjoy the foliage. And on the first day there, I sprained my ankle. The bike never came out of the bag. So this bike's been in the bag since I went to Maine. Let's open her up. Ugh. So this will be as much of a surprise to you as it is to me. This is 2 airplane trips. Trip there, trip back. So the great thing is this thing opens up really wide. This flap comes down. It's super easy to access everything. Here's one wheel. We'll check on that in a minute. Here's the other wheel. Check on that in a minute. But first, let's pull the bike out. Oh, the TSA. They checked my bag. They wanted to verify, I guess, that it was a bike. One of the neat things about the Orucase is that you can use their packing system. This is really cool. This is probably what I'm most excited about this whole thing. And I'm gonna pull out the bike and you'll see the rest of it. But they come with these pads and Velcro strips that make it super, super easy to pack your bike safely. So no need for those foam, pipe insulation. All right, so here's what the bike looks like all packed up. And you can see that I've got the Orucase pads on it. And early indications are good. Nothing looks outwardly broken. So that's a good sign. All right, let's put this down here. Now the derailleur slid into a pocket that's designed for this, and that's in the bag still. So I took the rear derailleur off. So far, all I've unpacked is the handlebar and the fork. There is a little bit of damage to the handlebar tape where it rubbed against my chainring. That's probably user error. And it looks like my brake hood on this side got bumped, so it's kicked inward a little bit. Again, probably just the way I packed it. I probably could have done a little better job. Let's unpack the rest of it and see. I mean, I can't imagine there's going to be any damage under these pads, which are just super easy to use and really quite clever. They're structural. They're kind of like hard, not so hard that they're going to scratch your frame, but they're hard enough that they're going to protect the frame. So let's see. There's no damage on the top tube that I can see. No damage to the down tube. I think we're sensing a theme here. I think we probably came out okay. And this is all the rear triangle. Everything looks good. No damage to the cranks. It is a little loose, but blame the mechanic on that one. And the seat tube. So this literally took me minutes to pack this up. That's what I love about this modular padding set. It's just so quick and so easy. So everything looks good. The chainring is fine. The only damage I got was a little bit of scratching to my handlebar tape, and you can see that the brake hood got kicked to one side. I probably could have packed it a little bit differently so that didn't happen. Head tube looks fine, and that was the one part I was worried about because the top of my head tube was pretty close to the top of the bag. So that was where I was worried I was going to get damaged. It doesn't seem like there was any. My frame's good to go. So overall, the experience with this version of the B2 has been overwhelmingly positive for me as compared to the last one. It's just easier to use, easier to walk behind. Everything about it just seems more streamlined. Now, the other thing that's always worth a worry is your wheels. Spokes seem fine. Wheels are nice and true. Let's check the other one just in case. Ugh. There's the rear wheel. Rotors look good. Wheels are true, no broken spokes. Yeah, wheels look great. So the wheels, which I was worried as well because they get packed sort of sandwiched with the frame and in between it, there's a lot of opportunity for compression. But the way you pack everything into this bag, nothing is really rubbing or pressing against anything else. So, you know, if your hubs kind of go in between the triangle, it's really a clever design. So the only thing that I can think that I would like is a touch more room at the top for my head tube. And again, this is a road bike. Can I fit anything larger than my 56? I don't know. You're gonna have to go to Orucase's website and see what their specs are. You're never gonna get a mountain bike in here. Gravel bike, maybe if you have a small gravel bike. So there's some constraints there. But I did not pay oversized baggage fees. That's a win. This is a much, much easier bag to run through airports with. I think Orucase did a really great job in this redesign, and I am very pleased to have this system, especially given the very clever frame protection system that they sell. So overall impressions, I like this bag a lot. It's great if you have a road bike that is probably 56 centimeters or smaller. Otherwise, bigger than that, you're gonna have some troubles getting everything in there safely. Forget it if it's a mountain bike. You're not gonna get a mountain bike in there. Gravel bike, probably maybe a 54 or smaller. I bet you could get in there, but it's a tight fit. You're gonna have to be very careful when you're packing it to make sure that there's nothing pressing against each other. And as you saw with my handlebars, there is potential, of course, for some knocking around, so be ready for that. How much do you want to avoid those oversized baggage fees? That's up to you. You could always get a bigger case and avoid any type of damage. If you're trying to avoid those fees, this is your absolute best option that I've seen so far. If you like this review, please do click on that like button below. Give me a thumbs up. If you have questions or comments about this, I would love to hear them. So give me a comment below. And of course, sign up for Slow Guy on the Fast Ride newsletter, www.slowguyonthefastride.com. You can reach me at BrownTieDan on social media if you have questions or comments. I would love to hear them. And if you have suggestions for things you'd like me to cover in a future episode, I would also love to hear that. So please reach out anytime. Thanks for listening today, guys. I will link below to Orucase B2 and all the other things that I mentioned in this video. I'll catch you next time.